Shadows crawling in the bright daylight, voices twisted, feeding us the blight, telling stories that were never true. We fight to break on through. Shadows crawling in the bright daylight, velvet shades of power driving us insane. But the fire burns deep within our chest. We fight, we'll never rest. We rise with fists clenched high, tearing through the veil, the sky. Truth's a blade that cuts the dark. We fight, we'll never rest. We rise with fists clenched high, tearing through the veil, the sky. Truth's a blade that cuts the dark. We fight, we make a mark. They call us rebels, say we've lost our way, but freedom's blood, it fuels the fray. From the ashes comes a brighter light. We fight with all our might. See resolve in the roaring storm, breaking cages will rewrite the norm. No more silence, no more disguise. We fight with open eyes. We rise with fists clenched high, tearing through the veil, the sky. Truth's a blade that cuts the dark. We fight, we'll never rest. We rise with fists clenched high, tearing through the veil, the sky. Truth's a blade that cuts the dark. We fight, we make a mark. We fight, we make a mark.
Is. But the man has solved 6 or 7 conflicts this year. I think we ought to give him some latitude to operate.
Which 6 or 7?
I'm sorry, are you not watching the
Which
news?
6 or 7?
Well, we just did Azerbaijan, we did Rwanda, we did Israel, Iran.
Israel, Iran, what? What peace deal did I miss?
Ended the 12-day war.
I mean, so 6 or 7. I
Are
mean,
you
that's
living on Earth too?
I mean, no, but Azerbaijan, Rwanda, what? What are we talking about?
Casey,
the fact is we still have a country a world that's on fire. And this is the problem with
Casey.
What are you asking me for, Scott?
I'm asking you to come in here and tell people the truth. Donald Trump has created a track record this year of helping settle several conflicts.
Several is different than 6 or 7. So I was letting Bukhari.
First of all, I will say this.
We did see, Scott, to your point, after naming something after Donald Trump, we saw Azerbaijan.
They're trying so hard to rewrite the narrative because we're winning like crazy right now. What Trump just pulled off today, folks, is historic. We don't know the details yet, but even the fact they went to Alaska, he met with Putin, man, I'm going to consider it a good thing that last night I got a little sick so I could do a live tonight. I don't usually do Friday night, but man, guys, today was historic. So I'm going to break it down, everything we know about Trump and Putin meeting in Alaska. And listen, they're freaking out. The media is trying to downplay this everywhere they can, which means the deep state is freaking out. They are not happy about it. They know that if the Ukraine war ends and Russia and U.S. start forging an alliance, it's big trouble for them. And if you were at the Members Live the other night when we talked about where the cabal is actually centered and who's a part of this, the history of it, you know that a free Russia, not Soviet Union Russia, but a free Russia before and after the Soviet Union is one of the greatest threats to the deep state, to the cabal, all of them. They hate Russia. They always have. And it's because the Russians have this long history of being independent from playing their games. And so they do not want this to come together. They're freaking out. They're freaking out. It's beautiful to behold. Scott Jennings was absolutely right. Trump is just laying out peace left and right, back and forth, and they are trying to change the narrative because they don't want him to be known as the peace president because they're a bunch of warmongers and they want war to last forever because war is profitable And war is also where they have the opportunity to move forward their aims. So let's get to it. Welcome to the Ace Report. Today, we're going, just like I said, Trump and Putin in Alaska. They did say an agreement was made. We don't have the details yet. I'm excited to see how this plays out, but there's a lot of interesting stuff that happened along the way, which we will cover. And then on top of that, there's more going on with the FBI, Kash Patel, and then Tulsi Gabbard, what they are exposing. So we're also going to get into that. The deep state is in full panic mode right now. Trump is delivering in so many ways. Never tell this man something is impossible, because he will make it happen. The dude is fearless, and this is one of those days, man, where I'm as proud as being a Trump supporter as I've ever been. The man just keeps delivering. It's wonderful to behold. So on that note, before we get started, please like, subscribe, share if you don't mind. If you're watching on X, hit that repost. I greatly appreciate it. If you do want to go into the deep dive on the deep state I did on the members live, and you're not a member, you can go watch that for free by signing up down below in the description on Rumble and YouTube. Click that link. It will give you a free month to the membership, and you can watch all the members' lives and get in the Discord for your first month free, and then you can cancel if you want, so it's no risk to you. All righty, guys. I got it all out. Let's say hey to some peeps up in here. We got some beautiful people up in here. Just Mike, numero uno tonight. Vinman, Kathy, Chad Yunkin, Scott Volkovich, Steve Bernard. What's going on? Brian Marshall, how we doing tonight? Rum Dog, Michael Tucker, Thomas Dubois. We're always praying for you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Tommy Moy. How's it going, Tommy? Thank you. I was a little sick to my tummy last night. Yep, got a little food poisoning. Cass Sink, what's up? Alan Gomes, what's going on, man? Patrice, Leonard Armstrong, the one, Christ is King, what's going on? Frank Anastasio, how you doing, my friend? Listen, I already seeing a bunch of comments blow up in here. I don't know why we're doing all this attacking Trump as a Christian thing and two different people at the same time. Are we getting, is this just a troll farm all of a sudden tonight? What's that have to do with what we're talking about tonight? I don't know what it has to do with it. We'll address that another time. We can deep dive that maybe on a members live. All right, let's get into this, guys. Are you ready? Oh, hold up. I forgot to say what's up to Rumble. What's up, Rumble? No one's actually in the chat on Rumble, but the chat just doesn't do as well on Rumble, and that's okay. But if you are on Rumble and you want to take a sec, drop a hey, and I'll shout out to you. As far as on X, I apologize, but I cannot see your comments. So, all right, guys, let's get in. It's okay, Alan. I just thought it was weird that two people brought up the same thing at the same time. Christina Abbott, what's going on? Randy Lochtefeld, good to see you guys. Ficus, what's up? Alan Krentz, we got a lot of OGs in here tonight. I'm loving it. This is wonderful. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Again, please hit that like, help the algo out, so we can get it moving forward. All righty, I think now we'll finally get started. Good job, Thomas Dubois. You keep fighting, man. I know you're a fighter. You're the man. All right, you guys ready? Are we ready to do this, to get into it? Here we go. Trump, and this is the first meeting. Now, listen, we're going to break down a lot of this, okay? Because I thought every bit. Now, I'm just sharing clips tonight because I don't have time to go through everything that's been shared. But I can tell you, the clips are fascinating. All the body language, everything between these two. It's fascinating. We're going to start with the very first meeting here with the handshake. Watch, and I want you guys to tell me what you notice when this handshake happens. I think especially the men should be able to pick out what Trump does here.
Again, one of the finance minister, defense minister.
As we watch these pictures, who sets up these meetings? How do they happen as we see the handshake now between President Trump and Vladimir Putin and the military? coming to salute there.
All right, I'll give you guys a second. Who noticed in that handshake what Trump did? I mean, anybody who's done a business deal or worked with like strong male figures especially probably saw it. Trump gets Putin's hand and he pulls it in. He pulls Putin to him. That, guys, is a baller move. Yeah, Vinman noticed it. He's one of the first to call it. Yep, and Cassink as well. Yeah, guys, you're right on it. I mean, watch, like, this is like the alpha move. You know, when you're not the alpha, you just hanging out there, and you might give a firm grip, like you're trying to prove something. But that pull in, I've never met somebody who does the pull in unless it is, hey, what's up, man? Like, it can be a good friend, or it can also be like, come on over here. Like, we're doing this. And that's a man move right there. The fact that he just did this to Putin, it's the show of strength. It's the alpha male move. And you just watch right here. As soon as first of all, Putin's the one fully extended. And look at how he's, sorry, we're doing body language here because this is a meeting of two of the most alpha men in the whole world. All right, this is important. What's coming out of this is important. Putin he looks vulnerable right here. You see how he's kind of like leaning forward a little bit? And Trump, the other part of this alpha move by pulling Putin in like that, watch Putin relax as soon as he gets that other foot in. Look at his back. And then he realizes it's going to be safe. And he relaxes right there. So Trump was also telling him it's safe. And he put his hand out there. There were people talking about saying that that Trump should arrest him now that he's on U.S. soil because of being a war criminal, which is ridiculous. Zelensky's a war criminal too, and all that would do is probably put Russia on edge and get everybody up in arms. Put his guys in the background behind him militarily with us. So, anyways, but that was very interesting. I'm sorry, I'm a body language guy. It does matter. Handshakes matter. And so I know it's kind of ridiculous to spend a lot of time on this right now, but it matters. It matters. Okay. And then the next thing we see is why they're walking down the red carpet, by the way. Trump rolled out a red carpet for him. This is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. This is such a baller alpha move right here. And, well, just watch. Flies it right over him. I mean, that's such just, I mean, it's saying a lot, okay? It's saying, Putin, I could take you out if I wanted to. You're safe. I'm not doing that. I'm also displaying. It's like also a display of respect. There's a lot going into this. It's really crazy, okay? And like, again, if, and this is where men and women differ, okay? It's not bad. A lot of women maybe in the workforce understand this, but this is stuff that matters to in the very masculine world between alpha males. Okay, so this is just what Trump did from the handshake to that was all in the introduction. All right, Putin, I'm laying it out. I'm making sure you know you're safe. I'm also making sure you know who's boss. Okay, but I'm going to be a gracious host. I'm going to show you respect, and I'm going to show it through display of power and warmness, and it just shows you that Trump is maybe just the. I don't know if I've ever seen, because remember, this is technically our enemy. This is like according to the media, the Democrats, other than Trump himself, this is a great Hitler of the world. Okay, Putin is the enemy. He is the guy they hate more than anything. And so for Trump to roll it out like this, I don't know if we've ever seen it done better. This is something like this is Winston Churchill's crap. This is, Eisenhower crap. Like, that's the last time in America we had, like, in war times like this, there were leaders, and obviously Churchill was UK, but there were leaders this strong in a military and, what's the word I'm looking for here? Just an ally kind of way, making an alliance with power, though, with power behind it. This is not the weak-willed globalists. This is not the weak-willed EU. This is strength and power, and mutual respect. It's really amazing stuff, So yeah, I'll get into the comments later, guys. Oh man, we got some fun ones tonight. Anyways, all right, let's keep going though. So then they go to the press conference, and here's kind of a bomb that Putin dropped. So I'll put my headphones on, but I want you guys to listen to this.
I'd like to remind you that in 2022, during the last contact with the previous administration, I tried to convince my previous American colleague that the situation should not be brought to the point of no return when it would come to hostilities. And I said it quite directly back then that it's a big mistake. Today, when President Trump is saying that if he was the president back then, there will be no war. And I'm quite sure that it would indeed be so. I can confirm that. I think that overall, me and President Trump have built a very good, business-like and trustworthy contact. And I have every reason to believe that moving down this path, we can come, and the sooner the better, to the end of the conflict in Ukraine. I'd like to remind you.
Okay, so why is this a big deal? Well, Trump's been saying all along that the war would never have started if Biden had if he'd been president instead of Biden. Said that all along. The timeline adds up, and so does the fact that before they went into Ukraine, Russia had come up with a peace deal where they said, "Listen, we don't want to do this. Okay, we feel threatened upon because you're allowing Ukraine." To go into NATO. They're pushing us at the Donbass. They're messing with us. They're instigating us. You ran a color revolution in 2014 with Biden and Obama to oust the government of Ukraine, put in Zelensky, and now they've been hostile to us. And now you're trying to put NATO on our borders. We do not accept that. So if you can agree that Ukraine will not do NATO and they will not cross our borders, we won't go in. And that was in the spring of 2022. That Russia was not trying to go to war, and it was rejected. And so Russia, now I'm not saying Russia didn't start the war, obviously they did, but they did it because of the fact that Ukraine was trying to get into NATO. This is a big deal. Now, those of us who've paid attention, those of us who've been watching this, knows these facts, but the vast majority of people do not. The vast majority of Americans do not do their homework. And that's okay, because guess what? The vast majority of Americans are busy. They need to run their families, run their businesses. I get it. It's okay. All right. That's okay. But it's important because when Trump says half the country trusts him, the other half thinks he's full of it. So when Trump says, Biden, this never would have happened if I was in, and now you have Putin in front of the country saying it on his own accord, that's massive. Millions of people watch this today. Fox News broadcast it. I don't know if the other places broadcast it. Maybe they did. But it was Fox. Millions of people watch Fox News. And on top of that, this clip is now being shared on X. It's all over the place. So millions of people now get to see Vladimir Putin say, on Biden's watch, we tried to negotiate with them. We said we didn't want war, and it happened. And President Trump's absolutely right. That's huge, guys. That's huge. And you know why it happened? Yeah, Alan Krentz is right on it. They have wanted Russia's... So when the Soviet Union fell in the late 80s, okay, and I think it was 91 is when the Berlin Wall finally fell down. 89 or 91. I always get them confused. I lose track of my dates. There's a lot that happened in those few years. But the Berlin Wall fell, and officially the Soviet Union fell apart, and all the nations broke off. And what happened at that time was, instead of like helping out Russia in a good way, the oligarchs started scrambling and grabbing up all their stuff, and a bunch of Westerners ran in, and Clinton was a big part of this, ran in and tried to set it up to basically their lands would be taken over. Okay, they were trying to pillage Russia, and they put in puppet governments. And Russia during that time, the Russians themselves, their economy cratered. They were going through starvation. It was awful for about a decade, almost a decade. And this is all because of Clinton. And then Bush makes all these deals with NATO. Clinton makes deals with Ukraine. We're going to back you up, blah, blah, blah. All this going down. All this political stuff's going down. Putin comes in and brings strength back to Russia, and he rebuilds it. This is why he's actually popular in Russia, not because he's trying to rebuild the Soviet Union, although he has said things about fondness of this. Again, everything I say is not saying Putin's a great guy, okay? Just remember that context. But I will tell you this, he's not a globalist. He just wants to make Russia strong. And we can agree or disagree on the ways he does that. I definitely not... I'm not validating a lot of his ways of doing that, but he brought food back to Russia. He brought power back to Russia. He brought stability, and he kicked out all the Westerners, and he took over the oligarchs. He made sure that they all tampered down and they weren't pillaging the people anymore. So that's why Putin's stayed in power so long. The people haven't revolted against him. He's, to most Russians, not all, to most Russians, he's been a fairly good leader. Now, that's, and this goes back even before the Soviet Union, okay? Russia was fighting off nations all the time. Russia helped us in the North in the Civil War. There's all kinds of connections to Russia versus like Europe, all this stuff for centuries. Okay, it's been going on a long time. They hate Russia. Russia and Europe hate each other, and there's a lot of stuff behind that. But so bringing it to today, the Europeans always are looking to expand NATO because the stronger NATO gets. And with Biden, Obama, Bush, Clinton, with them leading America as part of NATO, if NATO kept expanding, they were looking to press more and more on Russia and eventually get rid of Putin, put back a puppet government again, and be able to start pillaging Russia for its resources. That's what they want. Okay? That's what they want. They want to completely neuter Russia. They're not actually afraid of Russia the way they say they are, because Russia is not, I mean, other than like, there's been a few small places Russia's actually gone, Georgia, Crimea, and now Ukraine. But Ukraine escalated stuff, okay? And pretty much you could make the case that everything Russia's done since the Soviet Union has been more, they've been offensive, but to them it's kind of being offensive before the defensive is coming. Okay. Anyways, all that should provide just a little bit of context. I just encapsulated volumes of history into 4 minutes, but all of it is to say that they want this war to keep going. They want Russia to keep getting weaker. And on top of that, Ukraine is the breadbasket of corruption. It's where they launder the money. It's where a lot of the trafficking is done through human trafficking. It's even the New York Times back in 2019 called Ukraine the most corrupt nation in the world. All right. So this is not a good place. So that brings us all to today. And why has Putin stayed in Ukraine? Well, because he wants to make absolutely sure it's not going to be a threat. And the globalists, every time they've come close, remember in March, I believe it was, when Zelensky came here, they reached an agreement. And then Zelensky went and he talked to Macron and Starmer, UK and France, and he went right back and said, no agreement, we got to keep fighting. Zelensky is controlled by the globalists. Putin is acting on his own. He's not with Trump. He's not with the globalists. He's just acting on his own. And that's why Trump gets frustrated sometimes with him, but also is friendly with him sometimes. It's all very complicated. But the fact is this, Trump reaching out to Putin and having this meeting today, they spent however many hours together and came out of it very favorable. These men building an actual relationship. Something is going to come out of this. Okay, some good is going to come out of this. I truly believe that. Let's go to the next part. Here is where they announce there's been an agreement reached, which we don't have details of yet.
I would like to hope that the agreement that we've reached together will help us bring closer that goal and will pave the path towards peace in Ukraine. We expect that Kiev and European capitals will perceive that constructively and that they won't throw a wrench in the works. They will not make any attempts to use some backroom dealings to conduct provocations to torpedo the nascent progress.
Do you hear that? I'm going to play that last part again. Putin just basically called out the deep state. He just said, Trump and I have reached an agreement for peace. He said, basically it's something that Kiev and the other nations should not be able to overturn, but let's hope they don't throw a wrench in it. That's weird language. Okay, that's weird language when you're talking like trying to get to an agreement of peace. Usually, you don't say stuff like that. But he's basically saying, "Look, we've come to something that nobody can disagree with unless they choose to throw a wrench in it." Listen to this. I mean, and what does throw a wrench in it mean? It means sabotage. Why would you sabotage peace unless you have a reason to keep it going? And it's not just to keep. It's not because they care about Ukraine.
We expect that Kiev and European capitals will perceive that constructively.
European capitals.
And that they won't throw a wrench in the works. They will not make any attempts to use some backroom dealings to conduct provocations to torpedo the nascent.
Okay, did you hear that? Putin says that Kiev and the European nations, the capitals, let's hope, he says, they won't make backroom deals to ignite provocation upon Russia. In other words, you don't say this unless it's already happened. How crazy is that to say? He just accused Europe of working with Ukraine to sabotage peace when it can. That is a wild thing to say. Absolutely wild. And coming out of this, Trump is not upset about him saying this. If Putin was crazy off his rocker, just being a crazy dictator, Trump would be furious at this right here, because what Putin just said would piss off other leaders. And if Trump knew that they all were about peace and this was, and Putin was wrong about what he was saying, he was just being hyperbolic, you'd be pissed because you just negotiated something. But that's not what we see from this. In fact, we see them getting buddy-buddy.
Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll get a little heat on that one, but I could see it possibly happening. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Do you understand the respect Vladimir Putin just showed Trump by speaking English? Putin's always speaking in Russian, always.
And thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
So they're like buddy-buddy now. Putin's laughing. They're having a good time. Have you seen in the past, like when Putin's met with like Obama or Bush, it's stone-faced. It is like straightforward. There's no There's no happiness. There's no joy behind it. These men are forging a bond. And it doesn't mean, Trump is very good at two things. Okay. He'll turn on you. He'll be your best friend to your face. And as soon as you screw him over, he will destroy you behind the scenes. Think about how many times he's done this with Clinton. Think about how he'd welcome Biden in person. Okay. All that, we've seen it a million times. The other thing he's really good at, and everybody who's fair about Trump will say this, is Trump will forgive. So if you mess up, but you come back to him, he'll welcome you right back in. All right. And so what we're seeing here, it doesn't mean if Putin backs out or anything, Trump's already thrown stuff at him when he backed out before all that. It doesn't mean anything's set in stone, but it does mean there's a mutual respect here. And the deep state hates this, guys. They absolutely hate this. The cabal hates this. Here's a little clip of them just hamming it up. Like Trump and Putin just, it's just wild. Okay. We've just never seen this before. Now, here's at the end of it, their evaluations of the meeting from the Trump side.
Looking very possible that we're not going to see President Trump. This is confirmation to me.
By the way, before anybody's like critical of like, oh, Trump friendly with Putin, what a jerk. They all said that about Trump and Kim Jong-un too. Remember, in the first term, and they were like, this guy's it's a joke. He'll turn on you in a second. What have we not heard from mostly for the last 7 years? North Korea. North Korea has just chilled. They've done a couple small things here and there. But if you go back 20 years, North Korea was the boogeyman. They were the axis of evil along with Iran and Iraq. Remember George Bush's speech? Trump solved that by becoming friends with the leader. And so like this is how diplomacy is supposed to be done, guys. This is how you do it. You meet face to face and you work stuff out. Throwing bombs, whether they're real bombs or verbal spats back and forth, doesn't get us anywhere. Anyways, here's how they reported it that went.
That we're not going to see any sort of press gaggle before President Trump is wheels up. We're watching as the president embarks on Air Force One, presumably give a wave.
And we may see some type of tape playback on the plane on his way back. I would imagine you'd have to wait to land in order to play that.
Looking very possible that we're not going to see President Trump. This is confirmation.
I missed where he said it, but Trump says on the meeting, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give today a 10. That's huge. And then on the Russian side, they were also very bullish.
Just getting Russian wires saying that the Russians are characterizing the meetings as going, quote, very well. So we will hear from the leaders themselves. Just getting.
Okay, so what just happened is that whatever was agreed to, and it's going back and forth, it made both the U.S. and Russia very happy. This is the first time we've heard that Russia is fully on board with something. Now, I think I know exactly what they're going to come out with. I do. I think, well, at least I know two parts of it. They're going to say basically a lot of the land we took already, we're going to keep. And there's going to be some lines drawn on that. And they'll have to agree. Ukraine's going to have to agree to at least the Donbass and something else being taken. But the other part will be Ukraine will not be allowed to be in NATO. So we'll see as that comes out. But here's another interesting thought somebody brought up, being that the meeting was in Alaska. Now, I want you guys to take a second and look at this. It says this is likely the reason President Trump meeting with Putin in Alaska, and also he wants to take over Greenland. Tulsi Gabbard's annual ODNI threat assessment shed light on how China has been quietly installing itself in Greenland for the purpose of capturing not just critical minerals, but the foreseeable huge Arctic shipping lanes opening up due to sea melt-off. By 2040, maybe sooner, maritime industry is expecting huge new polar and northern sea routes for global trade. This new route will become equally important, maybe even more important than the Panama Canal. Interesting. By 2040, trade routes through the Arctic. no matter what's shared publicly while they are meeting, you can bet your ass they're going to be talking about this. So, and here's some of the documents right here. But China has similar aims at global shipping and resource access, including in the Arctic, where melting sea ice is creating opportunities for expanded maritime transport, energy exploitation. Listen, I guarantee you this has got to be at least a talk of it. Now, can you imagine if Russia makes perfect sense to be an ally of ours, if it gets to that point, if we can get peace from them, and they're not, listen, other than the war stuff, Russia hasn't bothered like being in Ukraine, which Europe got us Biden got us involved in all that. Other than that, and the fear mongering about Russia, Russia hasn't hurt the U.S. in decades. They're not like China. They have not been robbing us. They haven't been manipulating their currency against us. They haven't been stealing our secrets and using them and selling them back to us through, Amazon sellers and stuff. Listen, they are a perfect partner if we can get this peace stuff set up, because they're right off the coast of Alaska. They're almost touching. Imagine if there's transport of oil back and forth and other minerals. It's because Russia has the most landmass of any country in the world other than Antarctica, and they have the most natural resources of any country in the world. That is prime trading. It's what we should be doing. It makes perfect sense. If Trump can get this war to end and we can forge a peace treaty and open trade up with Russia, that would be massive. And once we open trade up with Russia and all, get to a peaceful place with them, it makes it all the harder for them to start doing stuff that we're gonna have to fight back against, because now they'll have an investment in us and we'll be making them richer and vice versa. I mean, it makes perfect sense. And so, yeah, I think Trump was probably also telling Putin, listen, Vlad, you pull this off. If you accept these terms, man, I will open up. We will make you so rich. You'll make us rich. We're all going to get richer. Your country, my country. I would not doubt at all that has something major to do with it. And then because this is such a big deal, even Hillary Clinton chimed in, says, if you get this deal done, Hillary would nominate you for the Nobel Prize. To which Trump, by the way, she was being sarcastic, but still.
In fact, did you see that Hillary Clinton yesterday said that if you got this deal done and not capitulate to Putin, that she would nominate you for the Nobel Peace Prize?
If President Trump were the architect of that, I'd nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Well,
when Hillary says this, I hate to make you guys watch Hillary again. I'm sorry, with this terrible voice. But you can feel the sarcasm, but you can also feel how she just believes deep down this will never happen, because she's one of them. She's one of the globalists. They don't want it to happen. She knows they're going to fight tooth and nail to make it not happen. They want to keep the war going on. So, of course, she feels safe in saying this, but just listen to the acid coming out of her as she says this.
If President Trump were the architect of that, I'd nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, that was very nice. I may have to start liking her again.
Trump's just the best. So, but all this is going on, again, if we open it up with Russia, that makes the EU less powerful. That makes China less powerful. If we can get this situated and then open up trade or whatever with Russia, connection with Russia, I mean, you're talking 2 of the 3 most powerful nations by themselves in the world. It's us, Russia, China, and then you'd have like the EU, which is, a conglomeration of nations. And then you could probably next down the line throw like Brazil in there, Indonesia, but those are still much further. Japan, not militarily, but economically is up there. But if you're just talking pure power, who people are afraid of, it's U.S. by far number 1 superpower, then China, and then Russia is third. And if you get an alliance between the U.S. and Russia, because, we are able to negotiate peace, all of a sudden we don't have to deal with the EU as much as we do, which we've already been choking the EU out. Just go look at what's going on in their economy and how they're freaking out over all this trade deals with Trump and everything. So, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because Europe has been able to continue its welfare state for so long because we have supplemented it. They've been feeding off us. They've been tariffing us. We've been giving them free trade. We send so much money over there. The EU, Europe has just been, the reason their state hasn't collapsed, their economies haven't collapsed, is because we've been supplementing it, and then Germany is still a powerhouse. That's it. And so we cut them out. We make this alliance. We get through this, make an alliance. If we get the peace in Ukraine, we can make an alliance. Holy crap, guys. And it also could lead to the end of NATO, which, by the way, we need at this point. NATO no longer serves a purpose that's necessary at all, other than to just fire up Russia. It's time that Russia was our ally before the Soviet Union. Russia and we were close. We were closer to Russia than a lot of other European nations before. We never fought with Russia. We fight with the UK all the time. We never fought with Russia, but until they were the Soviet Union. So, Jeffrey says nomination for Hillary might be her way of playing nice, hoping Trump won't land her in jail. Right? Matey Mate says the European leaders want all of Mother Russia's land broken up into small states and members of the EU bloc. 100%. 100%. RK Opal says China's the greatest threat. We at least need Russia to be neutral. Can't handle both of the same. Well, yeah. Well, we're not going to get into a hot war with either. There's just too much at stake economically, and the oceans make it really tough. But yeah, I know. I would agree with your sentiment. Uncle A says none of the stores near me carry Russian vodka anymore. That's a darn shame, man. Japanese vodka, huh? I like Tito's, which is Texas, and I like Grey Goose, which is France. But yeah, Russia and the Russians they're the vodka kings. Okay, couple other things here, guys, are coming out. Just so as Trump's like demolishing the foreign side of the deep state by trying. Well, he's trying to through so many ways: tariffs, trade deals. Just establishing our sovereignty, backing out of the climate, the Paris Accords, you name it. As he's dismantling the deep state in that way, he's also working on dismantling it by allying with getting to the point where Russia can have peace with Ukraine, and hopefully that can lead to the abolishment of NATO. All that's going on. Well, at home, lots has been coming out. All right, so Schweizer says, declassified bombshell. The FBI's own internal timeline memo, just declassified by Kash Patel, proves that multiple FBI field offices were investigating the Clintons for the pay-to-play and bribery revelations contained in the book Clinton Clash, and then the Obama DOJ ordered the agents to shut down. This isn't smoking gun, it's a whole arsenal. So more and more is coming out on the Clinton Foundation, which, again, a lot of people are speculating is going to tie to Epstein, because Epstein at one point said, I co-founded the Clinton Foundation. We know they were trafficking children from Haiti and all that craziness. JR, yeah, I showed that clip towards the beginning, man, but thank you for reminding me just in case I had it. And then Cash right here on Handy, I want to just play a minute of this because he says something really important that I've been saying, but it's good to hear Cash say it.
There's been a lot of talk and a lot written about the investigation into a grand conspiracy. To the extent possible, what can you tell us about that? In other words, that this is long-standing. If it is, in fact, a grand conspiracy, the statute of limitations would be eliminated. Is that what the investigation is about?
Well, Sean, what we're doing is building a case for the American public under the Truth and Transparency and Accountability Initiative. And what I mean by that is AG Bondi brilliantly highlighted our partners, Director Ratcliffe at the CIA and Director Gabbard over at the DNI. We are working with them because the documents that would facilitate an investigation of this magnitude don't just rest at the FBI and DOJ. They're throughout the intelligence community. And we, the Russiagate guys like Johnny Ratcliffe and myself who investigated this and exposed this, are trying to expose documentation that we've known existed for years. At the same time, we're finding new material. So the best approach is to release this information with them and also go to our colleagues in Congress who have an oversight function on the judiciary committees and oversight committees and demand from us information and documentation that we can publicize. Things like the Durham Annex, which we've known have existed this entire time, but were classified for political reasons. We are educating the American public as we build through this transparency initiative.
Did you hear that? That's the key right there. We are educating the American public as we do this. That, my friends, is exactly what I've said they've been doing, because they keep dripping. They're allowing everything to come out. They're dropping it so people have time to process it. They're getting the people on their side. They're getting the people to pay attention. And then when it's time, when they feel like enough's been out there and people have been able to sell it, then they're going to make more moves. Now, John Solomon said on Megyn Kelly the other day that he knows of at least 4 grand juries right now being set up for all of this. 1 in New York, 1 in Pennsylvania, 1 in Virginia, 1 in Florida. 4 grand juries dealing with all this Russia hoax stuff, FBI stuff. So, guys, it is happening behind the scenes. And they're just going to keep feeding us the intel for it to keep coming out. And then we have Tulsi Gabbard coming out again. She shared this from her car, which was interesting. But she says Fauci's under investigation for perjury. So we're getting that. We're getting they're going after the Russia hoax. The Epstein stuff is going to start speeding up again once Congress comes back in September. I mean, guys, this is fantastic stuff. This is exciting. And you better believe, like, first, I mean, this is everything we kind of hoped we'd see in the first Trump administration. And this stuff takes time. You got to do it right. You got to do everything by the law so that none of it gets thrown out on technicalities. Everything has to be perfect. But this time, Trump has the whole team on board. They're all working together. Trump called out Tulsi the other day, said what a good job she was doing. He was like, Pam, you get on this. I mean, Trump is very pleased with what's happening. And they're all working. There's a lot of busy little bees right now digging all this stuff up. And I think that one of the reasons it's just coming out now and after 6 months, it took a while for them to sort through. They had their own employees fighting against them. The deep state's embedded. It's embedded deep. Trump still, and Congress still hasn't nominated or confirmed all his nominees yet. He's still got like 100 nominees that have not been confirmed at lesser roles. 6 months in. I mean, it's almost 7 months in now. It's insane. Congress isn't doing their job. They're dragging their feet because they're scared. They know Trump's cleaning house this time, and they're trying to slow him down, but they can only slow down so much this time. There's too many MAGA people now in Congress that are pushing things forward. Even though they're a minority, they're still getting more done this time. And then Trump's whole administration this time is tight. They are tight, and they're on a mission. And it's excellent to see. And then we get weird stuff like this come out, guys. So Barack Obama today had a Zoom call or the other day, just telling the Democrats that are running away from Texas, like, hey, good job, guys. But, he forgot to hide his little crown up there, which is got all the FBI is designated boy lover insignia on it. And, there's an old Q post. Symbolism will be their downfall. But, you would think that even like if, You would think that if you knew, if you weren't in this, if this wasn't part of your who you are and who you're involved with, you would at least be aware enough. I mean, good Lord, man, you were the president of the United States for 8 years. You still get probably, well, you did for a long time anyways. You got access. You had access to classified materials and so on and so forth. You would think that at least you just clean this stuff up. So you'd be like, I can't even afford to be associated with that. Nope, still just proudly displaying it up there. I'm telling you guys, it's just more and more awareness. We're getting more arrests starting. Democrat New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell has just been indicted by a federal grand jury after an FBI investigation for corruption. So we're getting prosecutions now starting to happen more and more. I mean, this is just good stuff, guys. It keeps happening. So listen, we're in a very good place. It's getting more and more exciting by the day. I feel like we are Trump's starting to accelerate things, and I feel like we're going to have a wild, and I mean wild, fall and spring before next year. Everybody's already focused on the midterms in so many ways, and I really believe Trump is going to be going full bore after this stuff. I think there's an ace up the sleeve for the Epstein business, that when Congress comes back, starts demanding it, when they get Ghislaine testifying, they have all these people coming in. Remember, subpoenas: Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Bill Barr, Comey, Mueller. They're all coming in to testify. We're going to have those hearings over the next couple months. There's so much coming out. I really believe we're going to start seeing some more and more smoking guns. It's getting interesting. All right, let me catch up on some comments before I go for the night, and then I'll release you guys to have a great weekend. Corruption in New Orleans. You must be joking, says Winged Wolf. Yeah, right. Uncle Annie, most people probably don't know your personal insulting name for Obama of president. Nice. You guys are right. Yeah, no, we haven't actually officially declared a war since World War II. That is absolutely true. They've all been, what are they called? They have a name for what they call it. Let's see here. Anything super interesting I missed? No questions, nothing. So, all right. Well, listen, guys, love you. Appreciate you. Again, if you want to catch the members live, I did a full breakdown on who I believe the real bad actors are that run all of this. So you'll want to catch that members live if you're interested in that. And you can get it free by joining for free with that free month in the description. Other than that, please like and subscribe before you go. I greatly appreciate your guys' support. And as always, we need to end in a prayer, so let's end in a prayer. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Bless these people here, Lord. God, we pray for Thomas. So good to see him here tonight. God, pray that you just, God, give him the strength to keep fighting this cancer. And we just rebuke that cancer in Jesus' name, God, that he would get full healing and have a lot more healthy life ahead of him, Lord. So thank you for Thomas. We bless him, Lord. And just thank you for everybody else and anybody else who needs healing, God. We just pray for that in Jesus' name. And Lord, pray for protection over President Trump and the administration, for everybody doing the good work in our government. We pray protection, wisdom, and boldness, Lord, to keep going forward. And God, we're starting to see more and more justice, so we know our prayers are working. So we just pray, God, justice in America, more and more justice, that everything that's been hidden will be exposed and then face justice that it deserves. And we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Love you guys. Bless you. Christina says, I got to Make America Great hat again in the first election. Can wear then now, but you'll get beat up in Canada. Oh, my God. That's terrible. Canadians are supposed to be nice. Oh, what's up, Roger? Good to see you, man. All right. Anthony, what's up, brother? Playing some Battlefield 6, yo. All right. Love you guys. Have a great night. And I will, I might stop by again this weekend. We'll see. We'll see what comes out. And, you never know. So bless you guys.